Best grandmother ever. Such a precious moment. This is what childhood should be. I stared at my phone screen, watching the comments roll in on Karen Whitfield's Facebook Live. There she was, our HOA president, beaming as her granddaughter Emma tossed chunks of bread to the ducks at Willow Lake. The same spot where exactly 7 days ago she'd stood with her arms crossed and told me I was destroying the ecosystem. My hand trembled, not from age, but from pure fury. "Grandpa, what's wrong?" Aaliyah's voice pulled me back. My grandbaby was coloring at the kitchen table, those big brown eyes looking at me with concern. "Nothing, baby girl, just looking at something silly on my phone." But it wasn't silly. It was a slap in the face worth $300. See, I'm Marcus Thompson, spent 32 years delivering mail through rain, sleet, and snow in Pine Ridge, South Carolina. Retired now, supposed to be enjoying my golden years. Instead, I'm watching this woman live stream the exact same crime that got me fined. The video kept playing. "It's so important for children to connect with nature," Karen gushed to her audience. Emma giggled as the ducks swarmed for more bread. Connect with nature. Those were almost the exact words I'd used when she confronted me. Where are you watching from? I know some of y'all understand what I'm feeling right now. Drop a comment if you've ever been treated differently for doing the exact same thing as someone else. Just 7 days ago, this same woman stood on my doorstep with a $300 fine for environmental pollution and disrupting the lake ecosystem. My granddaughter had been feeding those ducks a small handful of oats I'd researched to make sure they were safe, unlike the bread Karen's grandchild was throwing around like confetti. "Grandpa, can we go see Mr. Waddles tomorrow?" That's what she named her favorite duck, the one with the slightly crooked tail feather. I looked at my granddaughter, then back at the phone screen where Karen's video now had over 500 likes. "We'll see, baby." What happened next didn't just expose her hypocrisy. It revealed a pattern that had been hurting families in Pine Ridge for years. And sometimes the best evidence comes from the last place you'd expect it, the person's own social media. I closed Facebook and set my phone down, trying to shake off the anger. Aaliyah didn't need to see her grandfather this worked up. At 64, I'd learned that some battles you fight in the open and some you plan carefully. "Grandpa, can I have some juice?" Aaliyah asked, already knowing where I kept the apple juice boxes just for her. "Course you can, baby girl." Watching her skip to the refrigerator, I couldn't help but think about how much she looked like her mother at that age. Keisha was pulling a double shift at the hospital again, second one this week. Being a single mom and a nurse in this economy meant sacrifice, and I'd raised my daughter to do whatever it took to provide. That's why Aaliyah spent weekends with me. Started 3 years ago, right after Patricia passed. My wife would have loved seeing this little girl grow up. Feeding those ducks on Saturday mornings? That was Patricia's tradition first. She'd pack a small bag of oats, take my hand, and we'd walk down to Willow Lake just as the sun hit the water. "We're not just feeding ducks, we're feeding our souls," she'd say. Lord, I miss that woman. My postal pension brought in $2,100 a month, plus another $1,400 from Social Security. Comfortable enough except for the $125 monthly HOA fee and the $300 to $400 I slipped Keisha to help with Aaliyah's expenses. That child deserved dance classes and new school clothes, not just the basics. Grandpa, look! Aaliyah held up her coloring book. She'd drawn extra ducks around the edges of the farm scene. This one's Mr. Waddles, and this is Princess Feathers, and... That's beautiful, baby. You remembered all their names. Course I did. They're our friends. Our friends. In her innocent mind, those ducks were part of our family routine. Every Saturday at 9 a.m., we'd walk the quarter-mile to the lake, her little hand in mine, talking about everything and nothing. She'd named every regular duck, noticed when new ones arrived, worried when one didn't show up. My phone buzzed. Text from Keisha. "Dad, saw Karen's video. Unbelievable. Are you okay?" I typed back, "I'm fine. Don't worry about it." "The hell I won't worry. That's $300, Dad." She was right. That fine hit hard. $300 meant choosing between helping Keisha and paying my own bills. It meant calculating whether I could afford to fill my blood pressure prescription and buy groceries in the same week. "Grandpa, why don't you like Mrs. Whitfield?" Aaliyah had that uncanny ability kids have to sense tension. "What makes you think I don't like her? Your face gets all scrunchy when you see her, like when you watch the news." Smart kid. Too smart sometimes. Well, baby girl, sometimes grown-ups disagree about things, but that's okay. We still have to be respectful. Even when they don't deserve it, I thought, but didn't say. Is that why we can't feed Mr. Waddles anymore? The question hit me right in the chest. How do you explain discrimination to an 8-year-old? How do you tell her that some people think we don't belong at our own neighborhood lake? We're gonna figure that out, baby. I promise. And I meant it. Marcus Thompson didn't go through 32 years of South Carolina summers delivering mail to let some boutique real estate agent turned HOA president push him around. Not when it came to my granddaughter's joy. Saturday morning came with perfect South Carolina weather. 72 degrees, slight breeze, sun dancing on the lake. The kind of morning Patricia used to call God showing off. "Come on, Grandpa, Mr. Waddles is waiting." Aaliyah tugged at my hand, her little Disney princess backpack bouncing as she skipped. We weren't the only ones at the lake. The Johnson family had set up their fishing poles on the dock. Mrs. Chen was doing her Tai Chi near the gazebo. A young couple, the Millers, I think, were tossing a frisbee while their toddler played in the grass. All of them white. I'd never really noticed that before, but lately I'd been noticing a lot of things. There he is! Aaliyah spotted her favorite duck immediately. "Hi, Mr. Waddles. I brought you breakfast." I handed her the small bag of oats. Remember, just a little at a time. "I know, Grandpa. We don't want them to get too full." She scattered a small handful near the water's edge, and the ducks paddled over. Mr. Waddles led the charge. His crooked tail feather made it him easy to spot. "See that one, Grandpa? The brown one? I think she's new." "Might be. What should we call her?" Aaliyah tilted her head, considering. "Cinnamon, because she's brown like cinnamon toast." That's when I heard the golf cart. Karen Whitfield didn't walk anywhere if she could ride. Her custom pink golf cart, and yes, it was actually pink, hummed down the path. She was dressed like she'd stepped out of a country club catalog. White tennis outfit, visor, pearls. At 9:30 on a Saturday morning. Mr. Thompson. She stopped the cart right behind us, not bothering with a greeting. What exactly are you doing? I kept my voice calm. 32 years of dealing with difficult people on my mail route had taught me that. Morning, Mrs. Whitfield. Just feeding the ducks with my granddaughter. That's environmental pollution. It disrupts the ecosystem. Aaliyah's hand found mine, squeezing tight. I could feel her whole body tense up. It's oats, ma'am. Wildlife safe. I researched. Research? She actually laughed. I don't recall you having a degree in environmental science, Mr. Thompson. The way she said my name, like it tasted bad in her mouth. I don't need a degree to read the Audubon Society website, Mrs. Whitfield. She pulled out her phone, started taking pictures. Not subtle about it either. Made sure we could see her doing it. This is a clear violation of HOA guidelines regarding wildlife interference. Grandpa, Aaliyah's voice was small. Are we in trouble? No, baby. Mrs. Whitfield is just confused about the rules. Karen's face flushed. Confused? I wrote those rules, Mr. Thompson. Perhaps you're the one who's confused about about what's appropriate in this community. She'd caught herself, but I heard it. Where you belong. The Johnsons were watching now. Mrs. Chen had stopped her Tai Chi. The Millers stood frozen, Frisbee forgotten. We've been residents here for 2 years, I said evenly. Paid every HOA fee on time, never had a single complaint. Well, you do now. She held up a phone, showing me the photos she'd taken. This will be documented and addressed at the board level. I suggest you and your granddaughter find somewhere else for your morning activities. But what about the other families who... Good day, Mr. Thompson. She drove off in her pink chariot, leaving us standing there. Aaliyah hadn't let go of my hand. Grandpa, why was she so mean? I looked down at my grandbaby, saw tears threatening in her eyes, and felt something hard form in my chest. I don't know, baby girl. Some people just are. But I did know. After 64 years in the South, I knew exactly why Karen Whitfield thought she could talk to me that way. The question was, what was I going to do about it? Monday morning brought trouble in an official envelope. I'd just finished my coffee when I heard the mail truck. Funny how after 3 decades of delivering, I still knew the sound of that grumming LLV engine. Young Carlos was on my old route now. Good kid. Morning, Mr. T, he said, but his face looked uncomfortable. Got a certified letter for you. Certified. Never good news. Thanks, Carlos. I signed for it, already knowing what it was. Sure enough, Willow Lake Estates Homeowners Association, Office of Compliance. The letter was on that expensive paper Karen loved to use, the kind that felt like money. Violation notice, first offense. Resident, Marcus Thompson. Address, 247 Cypress Lane. Violation, environmental damage to community property. Date of occurrence, Saturday, October 14th, 2023. Fine, $300. Due within 30 days. Description: resident was observed distributing foreign substances to wildlife in the community lake area, causing potential ecosystem disruption and encouraging waterfowl overpopulation. Foreign substances. They meant the organic oats I'd bought specifically because they were safe for ducks. My phone rang. Keisha. Dad, did you get mail today? Carla's texted me you signed for something. That's small town life. Everybody knows everybody. Yeah, baby. Got the fine. How much? $300. Silence. Then, Dad, I can't help this month. Aaliyah needs a root canal, and my car's making that noise again. I'm not asking you for money, Keisha. This is my problem. It's our problem. That's grocery money. That's your blood pressure medication. She was right, but I wasn't about to add to her burden. After we hung up, I did what any reasonable person would do. I read the HOA bylaws, all 47 pages. Section 12.3 mentioned wildlife protection exactly once. Residents shall not engage in activities harmful to community wildlife or ecosystem balance. Vague as fog. I drove to City Hall, found the actual town ordinances. Pine Ridge Municipal Code 8.14. Feeding of waterfowl permitted with appropriate food, no bread products. Recommended cracked corn, oats, specialized waterfowl feed. So I was following town law. But Karen didn't care about town law. That afternoon, I knocked on Jim Patterson's door. Jim had lived here since the development opened. Retired contractor, fed those ducks every Tuesday like clockwork. Marcus, come on in. Coffee? Thanks, Jim. Hey, you ever get fined for feeding the ducks? He stopped mid-pour. Fined? Hell no. Been doing it 15 years, since before there was even a HOA. Why? I showed him the letter, watched his face change as he read it. $300? For oats? Marcus, that ain't right. You feed them corn, don't you? Every Tuesday? Sometimes bread if we got leftovers. He set down his coffee cup hard. This is bullshit. Pardon my language. Jim, in 15 years, you ever see anybody else get fined for feeding the ducks? He thought about it, really thought about it, and I watched understanding dawn on his face. No, I haven't, but come to think of it, he looked uncomfortable now. The Gonzalez family, they got hit for a noise complaint, and that young black couple, the Washingtons, they got ridden up for their basketball hoop. What about the Millers' hoop? Still up. Been there 2 years. We sat in silence for a moment. Marcus, this ain't about ducks. No, Jim, it's not. That night, I sat at my kitchen table with the calculator. $300. I could pay it, but it meant no helping Keisha this month. It meant choosing generic brands. It meant telling Aaliyah we'd have to skip her favorite restaurant for her birthday next month. All because I'd committed the crime of being a black grandfather feeding ducks with his granddaughter. But I wasn't paying it. Not yet. First, I was going to do some research of my own. Tuesday evening, I was washing dishes when my doorbell rang. Maria Gonzalez stood on my porch, holding a casserole dish. "Mr. Marcus, I heard about your fine," from Jim Patterson. News traveled fast in Willow Lake Estates. "Come in, Maria. You didn't need to bring food. My mother would roll over in her grave if I showed up empty-handed." She set the dish on my counter. Smelled like her famous enchiladas. "Besides, we need to talk." Maria was a teacher at the elementary school, widowed young, raising her grandson Luis. Good people. "Jim said you're asking questions about HOA fines." "I am." She pulled out her phone, scrolled to a photo. "Luis's 5th birthday party, 2 months ago, see?" The picture showed maybe 15 kids in her backyard, a piñata, typical birthday scene. Cute party. "We got fined $250 for excessive noise disrupting community peace. Party ended at 7 p.m. She swiped to another photo. "This is from the Hartley's pool party the same night. See the timestamp? 10:47 p.m. Music speakers visible, twice as many people, beer bottles everywhere. Any fine for them? What do you think?" I was starting to see the picture, but I needed more. "Maria, would you be willing to meet with others who've been fined? Already ahead of you, Deshaun Williams wants to talk. So do the Washingtons and the Nguyen's." By Thursday, we had 8 families in my living room. I'd put Keisha's old teacher skills to use. Chart paper on the wall, different colored markers for different types of violations. Postal worker habits die hard. I needed everything organized. "Let's start with introductions and your story," I said. Deshaun went first. "Deshaun Williams, IT specialist, got a warning for loitering while teaching my son to fish. Been here 3 years, never missed an HOA payment." "When was this?" "June, 7 a.m. on a Saturday. Apparently, fishing before 8 a.m. is suspicious activity." I wrote it down. "Who reported you?" "Karen personally delivered the warning, said residents were concerned." The Washingtons were next, young couple, both engineers. "Basketball hoop violation. Temporary structures require board approval, but the Millers have one," I finished. "And the Andersons, and the Fosters." Mr. Nguyen spoke up. "We got fined for unauthorized gardening. My wife grows Vietnamese herbs in our backyard, our own backyard. Karen said it could attract pests. The Robertsons have a whole greenhouse," his wife added quietly. I kept writing. 8 families, all minorities. Fines ranging from $150 to $300, all for things white families did freely. "It's not about the money," Maria said. "It's about dignity. My Louis asked why we can't have parties anymore. My son won't even pick up a basketball. Says he doesn't want to get his dad in trouble." That hit home. Aaliyah named all the ducks at the lake. Now she asks why we can't visit them. This is what she wants, to make us feel like we don't belong. "Then we document everything," I said. "Every fine, every warning, every time we see others doing the same things without consequence. We build a case so solid she can't wiggle out. What about a lawyer? Asked Mr. Washington. I've got a consultation tomorrow with someone who does civil rights cases. Pro bono consultation. How do we prove it's racial? Deshawn asked. She never says it outright. Patterns, I said, pointing to our chart. Patterns don't lie. And sometimes, I thought about Karen's Facebook, sometimes people reveal themselves when they think no one's watching. We agreed to meet again Sunday. Everyone would bring documentation, photos, videos, anything showing the double standard. As they left, Maria lingered. Mr. Marcus, you know she's going to come after you harder now. Probably. You could just pay the fine, avoid the trouble. I thought about Aaliyah, about Patricia's tradition, about every family in that room. Could have sat in the back of the bus too, Maria, but that wasn't right either. She squeezed my shoulder. Then we stand together. After everyone left, I sat with our chart. 8 families, thousands in fines, countless moments of humiliation, but patterns were emerging. Karen Whitfield had made one mistake. She'd gotten predictable. And a mail carrier who'd walked the same route for decades knew exactly what to do with patterns.
Saturday morning, I couldn't sleep. The lawyer consultation had gone well. She'd said we had a potential case, but I needed something more concrete, something undeniable. I made coffee and scrolled through my phone, checking the HOA's Facebook page for any updates. That's when I saw it. Karen Whitfield is live now. My heart stopped. There she was, at Willow Lake, same spot where she'd confronted me exactly 1 week ago. The timestamp read 8:47 a.m. Her granddaughter, Emma, blonde pigtails, pink dress, was throwing what looked like half a loaf of Wonder Bread at the ducks. "Good morning, everyone," Karen beamed at her phone camera. "It's such a magical morning here at Willow Lake. Emma wanted to visit the ducks, and I just couldn't say no to this precious face." The comments started rolling in immediately. "Best grandmother ever," hearts. "So precious, lucky ducks. This is what childhood memories are made of." I fumbled for my reading glasses, had to be sure I was seeing this right. But there it was, Karen Whitfield feeding the ducks. Not even good food, bread. The one thing every wildlife website says not to feed ducks. "Watch this, Grandma," Emma squealed, throwing an entire slice that landed in the water. The ducks swarmed it. "Oh my goodness, they love you, Sweet Pea," Karen laughed. "It's so important for children to connect with nature, isn't it? This is what community is all about." My hands shook as I hit the screenshot button. Again. I screenshotted every second, every comment, especially the one from Mayor Bradley's wife. "Beautiful family moment. This is why Willow Lake Estates is so special." The live stream continued for 12 minutes. 12 minutes of Karen Whitfield doing exactly what she'd fined me $300 for doing. Except worse, Brad could actually harm the ducks, create algae blooms, cause angel wing disorder. But she didn't care about the ecosystem. Never had. My phone rang. Deshawn. "Marcus, you seeing this? I'm recording everything. She's really doing it, right there in broad daylight. Not just doing it, celebrating it, live streaming it, calling it what community is all about. Man, the irony is so thick you could cut it with a knife." After the live stream ended, I called an emergency meeting that afternoon. Couldn't wait until Sunday. This was too important. By 2 p.m., my living room was packed. Word had spread beyond our original 8 families. Now there were 12 of us. I'd connected my laptop to the TV, had the live stream ready to play. "Before I show you this," I said, "I want everyone to remember that we're not here for revenge. We're here for justice. There's a difference." Then I hit play. The room was silent as they watched. I saw Maria's jaw clench when Karen said, "This is what community is all about." Saw Deshawn shake his head at the mayor's wife's comment. Saw Mrs. Nguyen wipe away angry tears. When it ended, Mr. Washington spoke first. "She's not even trying to hide it." "She doesn't think she needs to," Tom said. "In her mind, the rules don't apply to her. They're just tools to use against us." "The timestamp," Maria noticed. 1 week. She fined you last Saturday and did this exactly 1 week later. "Like she was rubbing it in," someone muttered. I pulled up our chart, added a new column, documented HOA board violations, started filling it in. "This changes everything," Deshawn said. "This isn't just pattern evidence anymore. This is smoking gun evidence." "We need to be strategic," I cautioned. "She's still HOA president, still has power." "For now," Maria said grimly. Young Mrs. Washington raised a hand. "Teacher habits. The next HOA meeting is Tuesday. Regular session, not emergency. She won't be expecting organized opposition." "Then we get organized," I said. "Everyone bring your documentation. Bring neighbors who've witnessed the discrimination. And dress nice. You know how they judge." As people started planning, sharing phone numbers, organizing carpools, I felt something I hadn't felt in a while. Hope. Aaliyah had asked me that morning if we could go see Mr. Waddles. I told her, "Not yet, baby girl." But maybe soon. Maybe real soon. Because Karen Whitfield had made a crucial mistake. She'd gotten comfortable enough to show the world exactly who she was. And thanks to modern technology, we had the receipts. Sunday afternoon, I spread everything across my dining room table like I was planning a military campaign. 32 years of delivering mail had taught me that organization wins battles. "Okay, Grandpa's getting serious," Keisha said, arriving with Aaliyah. She'd insisted on helping me prepare, even though I'd told her to rest on her day off. "Hi, Grandpa." Aaliyah hugged me tight. "Are you working on important stuff?" "Very important, baby girl." "Why don't you color in the living room while Mommy and I talk?" Once Aaliyah was settled, Keisha studied my documentation. "Dad, this is thorough." I'd created a timeline showing every fine against minority families cross-referenced with photos of white families doing identical activities. Timestamps, dates, HOA bylaws quoted verbatim. The lawyer said documentation is everything, can't give them any wiggle room. "This live stream, though," Keisha shook her head. "The audacity." My phone rang. Jim Patterson. "Marcus, you got a minute? I'm outside." I found Jim on my porch, looking uncomfortable. "Come in, Jim." "No, this won't take long." He shifted his weight. "Listen, Karen came by my house this morning. Said she heard there's some group of troublemakers planning to disrupt Tuesday's meeting." Troublemakers? Her words. She wanted to know if I knew anything. He met my eyes. I told her no. "But Marcus, she's worried.
started talking about how certain elements are trying to destroy our property values. Certain elements? Yeah, Jim's jaw tightened. I've lived next to you 2 years. You keep your yard neater than mine, never miss a payment, help anybody who needs it. If you're a certain element, then I want more of them. Appreciate that, Jim. I'll be at that meeting Tuesday. Time somebody stood up to her. After Jim left, more unexpected support arrived. Mrs. Chen from the lake stopped by with documentation showing she'd seen 5 different white families feeding ducks without consequence. The mailman, Carlos, texted that several residents on his route were planning to attend.
Monday morning brought Karen's countermove, a mass email to all residents. Dear neighbors, it has come to my attention that a small group of residents are planning to disrupt our Tuesday HOA meeting with false accusations and inflammatory rhetoric. As your president, I want to assure you that our board has always enforced rules fairly and equitably. Any claims otherwise are simply attempts to avoid personal responsibility for violations. Remember, property values depend on everyone following the rules. Sincerely, Karen Whitfield, President, Willow Lake Estates HOA. My phone exploded with texts from our group. False accusations, Maria? She's scared, Deshawn. Inflammatory equals she knows she's caught, Mr. Nguyen. That afternoon, I met with the civil rights lawyer one more time. Patricia Williams, young black woman with eyes that had seen too much injustice already. This is solid, Mr. Thompson. The live stream is devastating to any defense she might mount. Is it enough? For a civil rights complaint? Absolutely. But Tuesday's meeting is about community pressure, not legal action yet. She smiled, though having a lawyer present never hurts. Mind if I attend as a concerned citizen? We'd be honored. Monday night, Aaliyah asked the question I'd been dreading. Grandpa, why doesn't Mrs. Whitfield like us? I set down my coffee, chose my words carefully. What makes you think that, baby? Because Emma from school said her grandma told her we're not supposed to feed ducks. But then Emma showed me pictures of her feeding ducks with her grandma. That's Mrs. Whitfield, right? 8 years old, and she'd already figured it out. Sometimes, baby girl, people have different rules for different people, and that's not fair. So we're gonna make it fair? We're gonna try. Good. She went back to her homework, then added quietly, I miss Mr. Waddles. Tuesday morning, I put on my best suit, the one I'd worn to Patricia's funeral. Seemed fitting somehow. This was about honoring what she'd taught me. Stand up straight, speak your truth. Don't let anyone make you feel less than. My phone buzzed. Text from Maria. 15 families confirmed. We're ready. I looked at the reflection, saw my father looking back. He'd integrated the postal service in our county, face down worse than Karen Whitfield. Okay, Pop. Let's go to work. The community center was packed. I'd never seen this many people at an HOA meeting. Usually it was just Karen's inner circle and a few retirees with nothing better to do. Tonight, every seat was filled. Karen sat at the board table, flanked by her vice president and treasurer. Her smile was tight, pearls gleaming under the fluorescent lights. She kept glancing at the crowd, clearly
unnerved by faces she didn't usually see. "Let's call this meeting to order. I see we have unusual attendance tonight. I hope everyone's here to discuss community improvement, not cause disruption." I sat in the third row, briefcase at my feet. Maria to my left, Deshawn to my right. Patricia Williams, the lawyer, sat near the back, just another concerned citizen. "First order of business," Karen continued, "the lake maintenance budget." "Point of order." I stood up, voice steady. "I believe violations and fines should be addressed first, as they affect residents' financial obligations." Karen's smile flickered. "Mr. Thompson, you're out of order. We have an agenda." "According to Robert's rules, any member can motion to amend the agenda. I so motion." "Seconded," Jim Patterson called out, surprising everyone. Karen's face flushed. "Fine. All in favor?" A forest of hands went up, more than she expected. "Motion carries." She shuffled papers unnecessarily. "Mr. Thompson, you have 5 minutes?" "I'll need more than that." I pulled out my laptop, already connected to the projector. "May I?" "This is highly irregular. So is selective enforcement of HOA rules based on race," I said calmly. Gasps rippled through the room. Karen's treasurer whispered urgently in her ear. "That's a serious accusation, Mr. Thompson. I hope you have evidence." "I do." I clicked to my first slide. Over the past year, 8 families have been fined for various violations. All 8 are minorities. 0 white families have been fined despite documented identical behaviors. "Coincidence," Karen snapped. "We enforce rules uniformly." Then let's look at specifics. Next slide. June 15th, Deshawn Williams warned for fishing at 7 a.m. Suspicious activity. Here's Tom Morrison fishing at 6:30 a.m. the previous Saturday. No warning. Murmurs from the crowd. Tom Morrison looked uncomfortable but didn't deny it. July 22nd, the Gonzalez family fined $250 for a birthday party ending at 7 p.m. Click. The Hartley's party the same night, still going at 11 p.m. No fine. Different circumstances, Karen started. August 10th, the Nguyen's fined for growing vegetables. Unauthorized gardening. Click. The Robertsons' greenhouse standing for 3 years. No fine.
The room was getting restless. Karen's allies looked uncomfortable. And October 14th, I continued, I was fined $300 for feeding ducks with my granddaughter. Environmental damage, you called it. You were disrupting the ecosystem. Was I? I clicked to the next slide. The live stream filled the screen, Karen's face on her own phone beaming as Emma threw bread at the ducks. Her voice echoed through the room. "It's so important for children to connect with nature." The room erupted. People talking over each other, some standing up. "That's different," Karen shouted over the noise. "That was educational." "Educational?" Maria stood up. "What's educational about bread? Marcus used oats, safe oats. You used Wonder Bread." "How dare you?" "No." Deshawn stood too. "How dare you? My son won't fish anymore because he thinks he'll get his dad in trouble for fishing." "Our grandson cried through his birthday because we had to end his party early," Mr. Gonzalez added, standing with his wife. Jim Patterson stood next. "I've lived here 15 years, fed those ducks every week, never fined. You know why? Because I'm white, and that ain't right." More people stood. Mrs. Chen, the Washingtons, the Nguyens, Carlos the mailman. Even some white families who'd stayed quiet before. Karen's treasurer leaned away from her. The vice president studied his phone intently. "This is a witch hunt." Karen's voice cracked. "I've worked tirelessly for this community."
You've worked tirelessly to keep it white, Patricia Williams said, standing in the back. Everyone turned. I'm Patricia Williams, civil rights attorney. What I've seen tonight constitutes a clear pattern of discriminatory enforcement. Any board member who continues supporting these practices could be named in a lawsuit. The vice president cleared his throat. I motion to reverse all fines issued in the past year pending a full review. Seconded, the treasurer said quickly. You can't, she sputtered. All in favor? Every hand in the room went up except Karen's. Motion carries, the vice president said. I also motion for an immediate vote of no confidence in our current president. The vote was overwhelming. Karen grabbed her papers, her purse, her phone. This isn't over. You're destroying this community. Property values will plummet. The only thing plummeting, I said quietly, is your ability to use power to hurt people. She stormed out, heels clicking on the linoleum. The room sat in stunned silence for a moment. Then someone started clapping, slow at first, then building. But I wasn't done. There was still work to do.
The meeting didn't end with Karen's dramatic exit. If anything, her departure freed people to finally speak truthfully. We need an interim president, the vice president, Robert Chen, said. He looked relieved, like a weight had lifted. Someone who understands what community really means. I nominate Marcus Thompson, Jim Patterson called out. No, I said quickly. I appreciate it, but I just wanted fairness. Maria Gonzalez has been teaching in this community for 15 years. She knows everyone, understands families. I nominate Maria. Maria's eyes widened. Marcus, You told me this was about dignity, I said. Help us keep ours. The vote was unanimous. Over the next hour, we accomplished more than Karen had in 2 years, reversed all the discriminatory fines, established a review committee for future violations, equal representation, transparent process, created a community fund for families facing hardships. About the legal action, Patricia Williams addressed the room. I'll file a complaint with the state's Fair Housing Commission. But honestly, what you've done tonight, standing together, demanding change, that's more powerful than any lawsuit. My phone buzzed. Text from Keisha. Dad? Someone just posted in the neighborhood Facebook group that Karen's leaving the meeting crying. What happened? I typed back, Justice. Tell you later. After the meeting, small groups lingered in the parking lot. The Nguyen's shook my hand. The Washingtons hugged Maria. Deshaun's son ran up to him. Dad, does this mean I can play basketball again? Yes, son, it does. Jim Patterson approached me as I loaded my briefcase into the car. Marcus, I owe you an apology. For what? For staying quiet so long. For benefiting from a system I knew was wrong. He cleared his throat. My daddy was one of those folks who stayed quiet during integration. Always regretted it. I promised myself I'd be different, but... He shrugged. Comfort makes cowards of us all. You stood up when it mattered, Jim. That's what counts. Wednesday morning brought vindication in an unexpected way. Karen's husband showed up at my door, looking exhausted. Mr. Thompson, I'm Bill Whitfield. Could we talk? I let him in, curious. He declined coffee, sat stiffly on my couch. I wanted to apologize for Karen, for everything. He rubbed his face. I knew what she was doing, the targeting. Told myself it wasn't my business. She ran the HOA, I stayed out of it. Why tell me now? Because my daughter called last night, lives in Atlanta, saw the meeting video someone posted, asked how I could stay married to someone who'd do that to families, to children. His voice cracked.
I didn't have an answer. What are you going to do? Already done. Served her papers this morning, and we're listing the house. He stood to leave, then paused. That little girl of yours at the lake, the joy on her face feeding those ducks? Karen took that from her, from all those kids. That's unforgivable. Thursday, the HOA board met again. Maria ran it like her classroom, efficient, fair, kind. They voted to refund all reversed fines immediately, with interest. Motion to establish a monthly community picnic at the lake. Rotating cultural themes. Show what diversity really brings to property values. Richness. Unanimous approval. That evening, my doorbell rang. A young woman stood there with an envelope. Is Mr. Thompson? I'm with the Pine Ridge Gazette. We're doing a story on the HOA meeting. Could we talk? I gave my statement at the meeting. Actually, she smiled, I wanted to ask about your late wife, Patricia Thompson. I found out she was the first black nurse at Pine Ridge General. Seems like standing up to injustice runs in your family. I thought about Patricia, how proud she'd be. Come in, I'll make coffee. By Friday, Karen's house had a for sale sign. By Saturday, something even better happened. Grandpa, Aaliyah burst through my door Saturday morning. Can we go see Mr. Waddles, please? Mom said to ask you. I looked at my grandbaby's hopeful face. No fear now, just excitement. Get your duck food, baby girl. Let's go see our friends. And that's exactly what we did.
Saturday morning at Willow Lake looked different now. Not the lake itself. Same cypress trees, same wooden duck, same ducks paddling near the shore. But the people had changed everything. Mr. Waddles! Aaliyah ran ahead, her laugh carrying across the water. The duck with the crooked tail feather swam over like he'd been waiting. He remembers you, baby girl. Course he does. We're friends. I scattered oats near the water's edge, watching my granddaughter's joy. That $300 fine felt like a lifetime ago, though it had only been 3 weeks. Mind if we join you? I turned to find Emma Whitfield with an older woman, Karen's mother, I realized. Emma clutched a small bag, looking uncertain. Everyone's welcome at the lake, I said, meaning it. The grandmother's eyes filled. Mr. Thompson, I'm deeply sorry for what my daughter did. I've raised her better than that, or thought I did. We all do our best, ma'am. Can I feed them too? Emma asked Aaliyah shyly. Sure, but no bread. Grandpa says it makes their tummies hurt. Here, use some of our oats. Watching those 2 little girls, one black, one white, kneeling by the water, teaching each other duck names, I felt Patricia's presence. This is what she'd wanted, not the division, but this. More families arrived, then Gwen's with homemade spring rolls to share, Deshaun and his son with fishing poles, Maria organizing an impromptu picnic, Jim Patterson helping set up tables. First monthly community gathering. Next month, the Gonzalez family is hosting a tamale-making demonstration. My phone buzzed. A text from a number I didn't recognize. Mr. Thompson, I'm a producer with a major news network. We'd like to interview you about your HOA story. Interested? I deleted it.
Some stories weren't meant for TV. They were meant for change. "Grandpa, look!" Aaliyah pointed to a new family of ducks swimming by. "Babies!"
Ducklings, I corrected gently, means the lake is healthy. Like our neighborhood? Yeah, baby, like our neighborhood. Later, as families packed up, Robert Chin pulled me aside. The board wants to create a Marcus Thompson Community Award for residents who stand up for what's right. Name it after Patricia instead. She was standing up for justice before I even knew what it meant. He smiled. The Patricia Thompson Community Courage Award. I like it. That evening, I sat on my porch watching the sunset. The for sale sign at Karen's house already had a sold sticker. Word was a young black family had bought it, doctor and teacher, 2 kids. My phone rang. Keisha. "Dad, Aaliyah hasn't stopped talking about the ducks and her new friend Emma." "Thank you." "For what?" "For showing her that fighting injustice doesn't mean hating people, just holding them accountable." After we hung up, I thought about accountability. Karen had lost her position, her reputation, maybe her marriage. But she'd done that to herself. All we'd done was refuse to accept injustice as the price of belonging. Sometimes courage isn't about having special skills or secret knowledge. Sometimes it's just about saying no more and meaning it. I looked at Patricia's picture on the mantel. "We did it, baby." Made our stand. Drop a comment if you've ever had to stand up to unfair treatment. Remember, documentation is your friend. Community is your strength. And sometimes the best evidence comes from the most unexpected places. Like a Facebook Live video of someone breaking their own rules. Because in the end, truth doesn't need a fancy degree or a pink golf cart. It just needs someone willing to speak it.